Bye. All right. Now, hope y'all having a good night. I just came back from a show, and I was just very much enthralled by a conversation that I was having with this Moorish character. Now, let me tell you what this post is about. It is about the Moorish religion. And there's some things that I need to set straight about this Moorish religion, because that's all it is. It is a religion. And people are being misled. They're not being given information. And they're stuck in this religion, and they have no idea or understanding that that's what it is. So we're going to break it down today. And I'm going to help you to understand some things about this Moorish movement. I've had plenty of people that I have given information to about this whole organization, and they have, if they've had to come back, they get upset because that's how, people who have their religion do when you challenge which I'm not trying to challenge your beliefs, but I'm going to give you the facts. If you come at me, I'm going to give you the facts. And then when you give it to them, they can't really accept it. And I understand that. I respect that. I'm not here to convince you. I'm just only here to give you the facts and the information. So I've had plenty of people. I've tried to give them the facts, and then they'll go away and they'll come back and they'll say, well, Diva, you were right about the Moors. Oh, I know. But I'm glad you were able to see it because you went and did your own research. So we're going to go over some things tonight about this religion. And we're going to talk about basically where this session is coming from, where it spawned from, and why I need to put down some information on it. I'm going to probably offend some people. That's fine. Just go and do your research. I just need you to hear it. And then I need you to go and do your research and then come back and let's have an informed discussion. Unlike the discussion I was having with this particular person on this post that spawned this particular session. So let me say this first. We're talking about the Moorish religion. It's not about status. It's about knowledge. It's not about status. It's about knowledge. Knowing who you are and learning how to stand. That's what this session is about. And you can go in, I've posted the actual session that spawned this from, one of my Facebook posts, which was dealing with writing contracts. And so I had a Moor of all people to come on there, and he had some things to say. And you're welcome to go on that post and see what my response was to his comments. Now, I'm going to go over some things right now, basically with respect to the Moors and what's going on with that. Now, one of the reasons why I call this a religion is because the way these Moors, they'll come at you, and the first thing they say, have you declared your Moorish national, whatever? No, have you declared your nation, your nationality as a Moor, blah, blah, blah. That's the same thing when you talk to the Christians. They're like, oh, have you declared Jesus Christ as your Savior? Okay, here's the deal. Let's talk about what status is and all of this that they keep talking about. Status. Status deals with a fictitious entity. When we're talking about these corporations in the in what I call the matrix, when we're talking about these corporations, they are dealing with status. When you are a sovereign, don't nobody care about what your status is. When you're writing a document, nobody cares what your status is. And as a matter of fact, when these corporations are coming at you, they're not challenging your status. They don't care about your status. You know what they're challenging? Your knowledge of the law. Now, there's a video, I think that I guess it went viral. I don't know if I saw it. I'm thinking it went viral because I don't try to care at all. But basically, there's this video of this guy who's waving a Moorish flag outside of his car. Now, let me say something to you. Whenever you are seeing these people waving their flags or whatever, or if they wearing their fez, I need you to understand something. It's not about these gimmicks, the fez or the flag. It's about their knowledge. And what I want you to do, if you know this video, I'm talking of this guy, he's got this flag outside of his car. What you need to understand as he's waving his flag, he is going off about the law. You cannot wave this flag or show your little ID and all this stuff if you don't know how to stand on the law. That's what he was standing on, the law. All right, so if you don't know it, you are not going to wave no little symbol or show a little card or wear your little fez and think that you're going to get over just because you say you're more. No, you will be up under somebody's jail. You have to know the law, and that's what this is all about. It's not about, they want to say, oh, your status, what is your status? Your status, no, nobody. I have yet, of all the documents that I've written and all the people that I've dealt with and anybody else, somebody tell me, well, my status was challenged. Nobody challenges your status. What they're challenging is your knowledge of the law. So people think you're going to go from the United States and then, oh, I'm over here, I'm under the Moorish, whatever. If you are standing under whatever nation, you can get the strongest men on this planet and try to stand under them. If you're standing under them ignorantly, meaning you don't know the law for yourself, you will be devoured. You will be taken advantage of. You will just become subjugated under this new organization, the same way you were under the United States corporation. Here's the bottom line. If you're not standing under God, then you are still sitting. You have to know how to stand. You have to know the laws, and you're not going to just go under somebody else's nation and, oh, I'm a Moor, and then all of a sudden everything works out. So let me go on this because, people want to talk about their Moor and they're standing on the Moorish nation. Let me ask you a question. Do you have your Moorish nation passport? Do you have it? Do you know anybody with one? Because if there's a nation, if it is a real nation, if it is a true nation, it can give you a passport. Do you have a passport from the Moorish nation? If you don't, and if you can't get one, then I'm telling you that it ain't a real nation. And I'm going to help y'all to understand something too about this Moorish nation. These Moors are, listen, here's the bottom line. The reason why this is a religion. And they need you to come under their little Moorish nation because why? Listen up and listen carefully. The corporations like the United States and all these other people, when you understand who you are as a sovereign being, when you understand who you are and you are actually standing under God, they cannot touch you. And as long as you got this Moorish nation here telling, oh, come under our flag, come under our nation, and then you rush over here from under here, the United States, and you rush over here to this nation, this whole nation, and you're standing under them, guess who's controlling this? Over here, the United States corporation, because all of this is infiltrated. So as soon as you rush over here, what you're doing is you're still going to be sitting up under a corporation, and you have to, the United States needs for you to sit up under a corporation because that's the only way they can touch you. If you're not under them or somebody who has a corporation, then they don't have any control. So all of this Moorish nation, that's controlled by them. If it was such a nation, why cannot they issue you a passport? All nations have the ability to issue a passport. Woosah. I just need y'all to know the facts, and I need y'all to pay attention. If you're not standing under God, then you're still sitting. We're going to learn to stand up. We're going to learn to stand up. And I'm not telling you not to be a part of the Moors, but you got to understand, if you're standing under any man and you are ignorant of the laws, you can't stand. And so that's why you're seeing, you'll see these Moors, they go to jail and all this. And I'm going to go through that. I'm going to help you understand, what's really going on. Because you cannot be ignorant. You want to be free. Ignorance and freedom do not coexist. All right. If you're getting this document from whomever with the Moors, or whomever with whoever they're with, and you don't understand what it is, you're filing this and you don't understand what it's about, you're not standing. Because at the end of the day, when the people come after you and you start telling, well, I'm a Moor and blah blah blah, and they're gonna start challenging you. And if all you can say was, see, I got this document from the Moors, you're gonna be up under somebody's jail cell because you don't know how to stand. And they're gonna know you don't know how to stand. There are things that you're going to say and you're going to do, and you're not gonna realize that you're entering contracts. And then you're going to find yourself in a world of trouble. And guess who's not going to be there for you? The Moors. Again, if you're not standing under God, you're still sitting. And this ain't nothing about religion. This doesn't have anything to do with Christianity or none of that. This has to do with knowing what's going on is in this dimension. So since I'm talking about that, let me go over that. You know, we're talking about what is God and who is God, and how important it is. One of the things we need to understand is that these people, you know, who are running this system, there's something that's controlling them. And I need y'all to understand this. Listen, I have put a link where you can go and download the hierarchies of law. Go and download the hierarchies of law. In there, you have the universal laws which stand above all of this. If you don't know those, then you know you just waving in the wind. You're clueless. Under that, the natural laws. Under that, you're going to see the laws of maxim. They are very important. I need y'all to pay attention to this. These people there's something that's controlling them. See, we all think that, oh, they just doing whatever they want to. They just being illegal. There's something that controls them. And one of those things is the Bible, okay? These people, whether you believe in God or not, they believe there is a God. And they fully respect there is a God. And they fully respect that there are laws that this God has put down. You need to know what they are. And they're in the Bible. Now, the Bible, like I said, is not God's, what do they call it? They want to call it God's perfect word. No, it ain't. But it has power. And if you know how to use it, it can become a tool and a weapon. And so listen to what I'm telling you. So you can see it. You see it for yourself. Pay attention. Pay attention. You can see this for yourself. We all know when you go into court, and at least that's what they used to before they removed the Bible from the courtroom. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? What? So help you God. Let's understand that whole little scenario right there. You're swearing on a Bible, and you're swearing to who? God. These people believe there's God, and these people believe, this Bible is a set of laws that stand above all of any other man's laws. They're called the maxims of law, or they're also called God's law. Y'all need to learn these. This is when you're standing under God. You don't have to worry about what man got to say down here. What he's saying, God say. And these people, let me tell you something, around the world, if there's a court and they're talking about swear on the Bible, around the world, they respect the universal laws, and they respect that there is a God. How do I know? Listen, I ain't in the United States. I'm in Argentina. And I know because I have a court case here, and these people, let me tell you something, when they come at me talking about what their laws say, I say, okay, well, is your God here in Argentina different from the God in the United States? I'm just waiting on somebody to say to me, oh, no, it is a different God. Nobody will say that. They're the same God. It doesn't matter where you are on this planet. Everybody respects this God, and they respect the laws of this God, which are known as the maxims of law. If you don't know what they are, go look them up. This is what I'm talking about when I say we're ignorant of the law. If you want to stand under God, not man, not somebody else's nation over here, but God. I'm gonna tell you something. You give me all you can take all your strongest men and whatever the richest, most powerful people, you go put them over here. I'm gonna stand under my God all day, every day. because I know that when I stand over here, I'm on point. I got protection. Because if this God is the God that we saying that it is and what we think it is, ain't no man on this planet and all of them combined can't compare. So I'm going to stand over here. If you want to stand, then you need to understand these universal laws. You need to understand the laws of Maxim. You need to understand what contract law is. And you need to, you got to know the law. You cannot sit up under somebody's nation ignorantly and think they're going to protect you. No, you will be devoured and you will be subject. Because, you know, you got these, and they want to talk about, well, you know, when you go to court, you know, when you go to court, let me tell you something. If I was a judge and I saw somebody with a fez in my courtroom, I'd be rubbing my hands together under the table and smiling, and we're going to have a fun day. Why? Because if you were in my courtroom with a darn fez on, I know you don't know who you are. I know you don't know who you are. You don't know how to stand as a sovereign if you're in my courtroom. Why? Pay attention. Pay attention. All courts are for dead, fictitious entities. All courts are for dead, fictitious entities. When you know who you are, you know you don't ever have to be in nobody's courtroom. So let me help you understand something. First of all, people who know how to stand as sovereigns, they handle their business before anything goes to the public. So let me help you understand something. You might want to take some notes. Let me make sure hello everybody who's joining me. I want to say thank you all for joining me this evening. All right. I'm just making sure that I include everything in here. All right, so listen. When you see something going into the public, take notes. There's always that took place in the private. If it's in the public over here, there was these two documents that went on over here in the private, always. So this is where sovereigns take care of their issues in the private so that they never end up in the public. So let's say there's a traffic ticket and you got a Moor walking up into the courtroom. I know he doesn't know who he is, because if he knew who he was, first of all, he wouldn't have been signing the traffic ticket in the first place, because he would know it's a contract. So go back and look at my last session I did on contract writing and understand that, you know, when you're a sovereign, you know, you don't have to contract with these people. And if you've signed a contract and then you're showing up in my court, I know that you somehow have some kind of identification saying that you are a slave to the state. What kind of identification is this, Diva? Well, it is a driver's license, an ID card, a passport. Any of those say that you are a slave to the corporation. So if you don't want to be considered a slave to the corporation, don't be showing no kind of ID to the agents. The only way that you can be in my courtroom, if I'm a judge, is if somehow you gave one of my agents an ID passport or some kind of ID saying that I'm a citizen of the state of whatever, or I'm a citizen of the United States Corporation. You said you're a slave. You said I'm a dead fictitious entity. Why? Because all those documents have capital letter names on them. Capital letters, once again, go back and see my last documentation, say that you are a dead fictitious entity. So if you're showing them these IDs, you're saying I'm property. All right. So this is why you've got to understand and be cognizant of what you're doing and what you're showing, because you're signing contracts and you don't even understand you're doing it. So, okay. So this is a Moor wearing their fez. Fez wearing Moor in my courtroom. And I already know that you don't know who you are if you're in there. So your fez is making me laugh. Your feds is making me laugh because this is a place for dead, fictitious people. People who know who they are don't come into a courtroom and be trying to defend themselves because they're going to handle their business as a sovereign. They handle their business as a sovereign in the private. That's what they do. So when you get a contract, people who know what they're supposed to be doing, they're going to handle that. They're going to answer that contract. Go back and see my last session. They're going to answer that contract in the way that it should be answered. All right. So you're in my courtroom wearing a fez. Now I'm going to say, when I come in, first thing I'm looking at is all rise. Did this person rise? Because let me tell you something about that real quick. What that is, again, they're like conjuring. They talk about magic. That's what all the dead people rise. They're bringing the dead to life. All rise. That's what that's all about. The judge coming in, bringing the dead to life. Because again, a courtroom is for dead, fictitious entities. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to have my clerk to call the roll. All right. I want to see if this Moor is going to answer to this dead, fictitious name. All right, Mr. Jones. I'm going to call the roll. I'm going to see if it gets to Mr. Jones and see if Mr. Jones answers to this dead, fictitious name. So I get to Mr. Jones, and Mr. Jones is, I want to challenge the jurisdiction. Are you Mr. Jones? Well, no, I'm not Mr. So you're not Mr. Jones? No, I'm not. Okay, well, we're going to mark Mr. Jones absent and send out a warrant for his arrest. Wait, are you Mr. Jones? Or you're not Mr. Jones. So this is what we're going through. So let's say he says, yeah, I'm Mr. Jones. Okay, well, Mr. Jones, guilty, no guilty, or nolo. Guilty, not guilty, or nolo. Which one is it? Well, I want to challenge the jurisdiction. Guilty, not guilty, or nolo, Mr. Jones. Well, I'm just saying, what is the jurisdiction? Are you not guilty? And all he has to do is say no. And then, see, again, I'm just having fun with him. I'm having fun with Mr. Jones because I already know Mr. Jones don't know what the hell going on anyway. That's why he's in my court. But if you're saying to me, I'm going to try to get him to say not guilty. But then my question is going to be, because see, a lot of people don't know what jurisdiction is. So let me go ahead and explain. Now I'm coming back to Mr. Jones in this situation because there's so many different scenarios where Mr. Jones can get jacked up when he doesn't know who he is and what he's talking about because he shouldn't be there in the first place. You should be handling your business like a sovereign does. But one of the things about jurisdiction that people talking a lot about is, this is the thing. Go and pull that. That's why it's important for you to know the hierarchies of laws. All human beings, whether you know who the hell you are or not, you stand above corporations. The problem is you keep signing contracts and putting yourself under the jurisdiction of these corporations. Now, here's the deal. With jurisdiction, as stated in the Constitution, here's the deal. When someone is accusing you of something, you have the right to see the person who is accusing you. Now, let's understand this. A corporation is not a human being and it cannot be harmed. All right. A corporation is not a human being and it cannot be harmed. So it cannot bring an action against a real human being. All right. So if you have someone else, the only way a court should be getting involved in any kind of issue is if you, the real human being, harmed another real human being. That's it. That's the only way the court should be getting involved. If a real human being harmed another real human being. The problem is we don't know that. We don't know law. This is what I keep saying. We need to learn the law because of the simple fact that with these courts, if somebody is charging you with something, a real human being got to come in and say, hey, I'm charging this person with this. And this person, this is the defendant, they get to see who's charging them. Well, when the court, let's say you get a traffic ticket, you didn't, that's the state bringing a case against you. The state is not a real human being. This is state right here. This is you. This is a real human being. State can't bring anything against you because it's not a real human being. I know I said that. I'll probably say it 2 times before I get out of here. That's good because I need you to get it. This ain't a real human being, so it can't bring any kind of case against you. So now when we're talking about all of these, or you were speeding and you were driving while texting, you didn't have a seatbelt. Those are not laws. Those are code, statutes, and ordinances, and they don't apply to you because this is the corporation trying to tell you, the real human being, that you filed them. Well, okay, I need to see the person who's the real live human being that I did harm to. This is the state. The state can't stand as a real live human being. So if it can't stand and you can't see your accuser, then there is no case. These are the things we're talking about. Jurisdiction. The courts have no case if this is the state and the state is only trying to come at you for some codes, statutes, and ordinances. When you understand who you are, then none of this stuff down here applies to you. You're a real live human being. Only if a person is injured can the courts get involved in this. So this right here, this doesn't even pertain to you. So if you standing in court and you come in my court and I'm a judge, I'm laughing at you with your fez wearing hat on your head because I'm like, this person doesn't know who they are. I know you don't know who you are. So let's get back to Mr. Jones, who is on a jurisdiction. You're asking me if I have jurisdiction. And I'm telling you that you need to plead guilty, not guilty, or nolo, because Mr. Jones messing up my business. I got all these other people out here who I'm ready to get money from. And Mr. Jones, you need to, are you going to plead guilty, not guilty, or nolo? Do we need to do an arraignment for you? And again, Mr. Jones, in most cases, they have no idea what jurisdiction is or what it even means or how to apply it to their case or tell the judge, listen, so what has happened is now in most cases, the judge is going to claim that Mr. Jones was absent. Mr. Jones is going to say, well, I'm not that dead fictitious entity. Okay, well, we're going to mark Mr. Jones absent. You're free to go. As soon as he walks out, if I'm in my court, I'm gonna have the bailiff outside. I'm like, tell him he needs to show you his ID. Tell him you need to see an ID. And as soon as you pull out an ID, a driver's license or something like that, you're gonna be arrested. Then I'm gonna throw you up under the jail just to mess with you. Why? Because you don't know who you are. You already pulled out an ID, which is why you was in court in the first place. And then you're dumb enough to pull out an ID after you just said you're not this person. And then you show an ID saying that you are the person. You're not getting this game. So let's say Mr. Jones is in court and he's talking about what the Constitution says that I can. Now, if I'm the judge, I'm going to say to him, Mr. Jones, are you a lawyer? Licensed lawyer? That's what I'm going to say. And Mr. Jones gonna tell me, no, I ain't. You see my feds, I ain't no lawyer. Okay, so you're not a lawyer. Then what I'm gonna tell you to do is not to quote from the Constitution, or I'm gonna put you in jail. But the Constitution, I said, Mr. Jones, I'm gonna have you in jail for contempt. What you mean I can't have? See, this because pay attention, take notes. Pay attention. Take notes. Listen up. When you got to understand there's more than one Constitution, by the way. So he didn't say the Constitution for the United States of America. He said the Constitution. That, as far as me being the judge, as far as I'm concerned, you're talking about the Constitution that is copyrighted by Britain, British accredited registry. All right. This is why people get put in jail for trying to quote from the quote unquote Constitution, because there's one that is copyrighted by the British accredited registry. That's the Constitution of the United States that all y'all keep trying to quote from and don't have an understanding that there's more than one Constitution. So you're quoting from the British accredited registry constitution. And what you're doing is you're committing copyright infringement, which is a $10,000 to $50,000 fine. I'm gonna let that sink in. When you're quoting from these documents and you're not a bar licensed attorney, then you can be held, you can be thrown in prison and fined for it because it's called copyright infringement. But when you know the maxims of law, those are God's laws. Those come right from the Bible. Everybody has the ability and the right to use those wherever you are. You got to know those laws. If you know those laws, you're standing above. All right, you're standing under God. That's where you're supposed to be standing. Not under man, not trying to quote from the Constitution, which there's a Constitution that you can quote for, but you're not the Constitution for the United States of America. That is the Constitution you can quote from. The other one is copyrighted by Britain. So these are things that Mr. Jones don't know. That's why he's in court. All right. Now, let me go on with this because you got to understand. The judge now, at me as a judge, I just want you to plead. You know why I want you to plead? Even if you say not guilty. As soon as you say not guilty, what you have done is put yourself under my jurisdiction. So all you got to do, well, I ain't guilty. Okay, good. I'll see you in a month for, this is arraignment. I'll see you in a month for the trial. You have put yourself under my jurisdiction. Just like that. Again, we say things and we sign contracts and we don't understand that we are doing things to put ourselves in situations because we don't know the law. You cannot be ignorant because at the end of the day, these Moors are not going to be there to help you. Nobody's going to be there to help you. You can't say, where the Moors told me, because and this is why I don't want followers. When I deal with my clients, they leave me, they need to know this law because I want them to go on to help other people. And you can't do it when you're ignorant. All right, so when you, at the end of the day, it can't be that you're blaming somebody else for giving you information. You have to not only hear the information, you've got to go and look it up for yourself, research it for yourself. All right, Mr. Jones has put himself under the jurisdiction of my court. Now, when we're going on, there's so many things that, really, at all points, you can really take yourself out of this situation. But let me go on to the end so we can understand what's going on with this case. Now, a lot of these Moors, they don't understand about just bonds. Take notes. This is a good thing to understand. When there's a court procedure, there's always going to be a bond put on that court procedure, always. All right. They're going to use this is why when you say not guilty and you put yourself under their jurisdiction, they're gonna go tap into your account. That Social Security account that this guy was in my thread talking about doesn't exist. Oh, it exists, and they're gonna tap into that account because you have agreed that you're gonna have a case. Well, all cases by law must have a bond. They ain't gonna put the bond up from them. They're not take the bond from themselves because they can't even create money. But you can, because you have an account that has federal credits in it. Okay, well, they're gonna tap that account to create a bond. So now you have a bond on this case, and they're not gonna tell you have a bond. So Mr. Jones is gonna come into my court, and I'm gonna say, yeah, Mr. Jones, the officer said you were speeding, and I find that you were speeding. So guess what? You owe $500. Pay it. Clank. And Mr. Jones doesn't realize that we have already taken out a bond to cover all of the court, any expense that comes from this court, my court, it's already covered in the bond. He doesn't know that. That's why he's in court. He's gonna try to argue. Listen, let me tell y'all something once again, and go back and look at my last video. There is no argument once you get into court, because by the time court comes around, you're in dishonor. Anything in the public is showing that the person who is the defendant is in dishonor. How are they in dishonor? Because they didn't answer the contracts in the private. You're supposed to handle your stuff in the private. That's what sovereigns do. They handle their issues in the private. They take care of it. But if you over here in the public, it's a clear indication that you have not handled your business on the private and you really don't know who you are. So we get over here and I'm charging Mr. Jones $500, and Mr. Jones now has got to come out of his pocket, or either he's going to go on probation to get me the money that he's supposed to owe, or he's supposed to pay me. Meanwhile, I'm ready to tap this bond for $500, plus I'm getting another $500 from Mr. Jones. It's a good day. It's a good day. Thank you, Mr. Jones, for not knowing who you are. I mean, there's so more to it than that. But let me, understanding this, I talk about writing contracts because when we're writing contracts, we're dealing with the private. This is where all of the things that one who stands as a sovereign and a creditor handles their business. They don't take it into the private. And for me, with my clients, if we're going into the private, you ain't gonna be no defendant. You're gonna be on the upside of this. You're gonna be the plaintiff. And somebody's gonna be getting sued by the time we get ready to go in there. So this is why, it's important to understand contracts when they're coming at you. It's important to understand how to move quickly on them and how to stand in honor. Now, let me talk about some of the comments that were made by this character on my post. And like I said, I put the post up in the title so that you can go and take a look at the whole conversation and see it for yourself. All right. Some of the statements made: without nationality, remedies are futile. Let's understand this, how much bull stuff. Yeah. We're going to understand how untrue this is. Now, nationality, like I said, deals with a fictitious character. When you are writing your contracts, nobody cares about your nationality. You are still a guide. And let's understand this. With the Moors, their whole narrative is, well, they turned us into slaves, and when your mama signed the birth certificate, they made you a debtor and they made you a slave. No, they didn't. They didn't make you nothing. What your mother did when she signed that birth certificate, she created a bond. Your mother's signature creates money. All right, because the corporation can't make money. And when they created that bond, when she created that bond, it needed to go to support the United States corporation. Well, they didn't tell you that you're a part owner of the United States corporation. You don't know that. But they tell you're a debtor. And so here's the Moors narrative. We slaves. They turned us into slaves. You ain't. And as a sovereign, you don't have to be telling them. You can. This is what I do. I advise all of my clients. However, when you write a contract, you are standing as a guide. You're standing as a sovereign, as a creditor. When you're writing your contracts, those are your God-given rights to write contracts. And you have every right to do so. You don't even have to tell them. You can't write. When you write, you just write as a guide because you're saying, this is what I want. And so now, yes, you can go and put it on record of what your status is. That's fine, but you don't have to be no Moorish national or now I'm a Moor. We're going to go into what a Moor is now, because I want to talk about this real quick. He says this document to me. Once again, go to the thread and see it. The document says, it's talking about how, well, this is why nationality is important. Listen to me, people. And I talk about this Moorish religion. You cannot be regurgitating stuff and not checking it out for yourself. All right, especially not to me, because I know what the law is. And this guy comes and shows me this document, and I know he don't know where it comes from, because I asked him. I was like, well, it says Article 14. And it's like, yes, because the more, look, you go read it for yourself. That, what I had to go, I went and looked it up. That article comes from the Barbary Treaty. It was Morocco and some other corporations. They were pirates. The governments were involved in piracy and taking people's ships and all of that. Well, the United States of America had to make a treaty between, this happened in 1839, this document that he's sending. So they had to make a treaty. Now, what this document he sends me is showing that Morocco was a foreign nation and recognized themselves as a nation that is foreign to the Americas. I'm going to say that again because somebody missed it. Don't miss it. This document was the Barbary Treaties. It is a treaty of 1839. And what it showed was that Morocco clearly identified themselves as a foreign nation to the Americas. And they were now making laws in their land and asking that the United States respect these laws. So basically the law is like this. All right, the Moors, if they come down to the Americas and something goes on with them in the Americas, they got to know that they're not a part of the United States and they're claiming their nationality as Moors. Okay. But once again, I'm going to say this again. This whole treaty document, it made it clear that the Moroccans and the Morocco were foreign to the Americas. So now when we go back to this thing where these Moroccans and this Moorish nation are talking about the Americas, when that happened? Because as late as 1839, they are clearly stating we are a foreign nation to the Americas. When is it that the Americas became their territory? It never was, and it's still not. All right, I'm gonna move on because that's a whole nother session by itself, and I would love to get into some history on that. Then the character in my post says, he says, we black people, we don't have no nationality. We're only black people. Okay, stop right there, because I know right there, when you are calling melanated people black, I know you don't know the law, because anybody who knows the law is not going to use that term to refer to their people because they know what it means. And it doesn't have anything to do with skin color. All right, so let's understand it. And as a matter of fact, let me say this right quick, because if we even understood etymology, the term black, it means, it comes from the term bleak, B-L-E-A-K or B-L-A-E-K. All right, that means pale and without color. And when we go and look at all other languages, we see that black, like even in Spanish, blanco, blank, even in other French and all these, blanc, black comes from blanc, and that means white or without color. And here we are calling ourselves black and still not getting a clue, and not that black has to do with status. Now we're talking about status, and you're talking about running around calling your people black. Black means that somebody who is not native or original to the land, somebody who is illegal to the government. When the melanated people are the original people of the land. As a matter of fact, when we talk about, see, this is how twisted history is. The original colonists, and people talking about, they were talking about pilgrims and all this. The original colonists of these colonies was your melanated people, calling themselves Black and African American. They are the original people of the land, by the way. And I'm going to put up the treaties so you can see it for yourself. So you know, Diva Marie ain't making this up. When you go and read the treaties, you'll see the bad deals that the original Americans were making with Britain and making themselves the colonists. They were the original colonists. Your melanated people running around talking about, I'm black, I'm African American, I'm Negro, I'm Negro, I'm nigger, whatever. Those were the original colonists right there. So now, when he says we black people don't have a nationality, again, I know he doesn't know law. Otherwise, he wouldn't. See, there's certain things that people who know are not going to say. So you can't hide. Whether if you are knowledgeable about this, you're going to not be using certain terms. You're going to know certain things. So now, another one of the things that he says, writing as a debtor is debtor stateless individual is detrimental. Now, let me talk about, because see, when it comes to a nationality, you've got to understand. And I'll tell anybody this. I am made up of every element on this planet. I am money. I am a walking bank. When we talk about what is a nation? What is a nation? A nation has land. It has a state. It has a flag, a seal, a constitution, and it has a bank. It can create money. I'm a nation. I am my vessel is a nation of a nation made up of different spiritual beings. I am a nation. And so I can declare that. And that's what I have done. See, we've been taught that, oh, you gotta stand together. Look, let me tell you something. I'm not looking for followers, and I'm not looking to lead anybody. What I want to do is give you the facts so you can follow it yourself. For me, I'm only going to stand on one place, and that's under God. That's it. Now, you want to go stand over here under these men, that's fine. But when you understand how to stand here, stand under God, then you're standing stronger than anything outside of that. Now, again, when we're talking about writing as a debtor, when you're writing, you're never going to be a debtor. You've always been a creditor. You always will be, because you're the only one that can create the money. See, this is why these corporations need you. You notice, listen, I'm going to show you something so you can take a look for yourself. When you go and you're looking at your checks, when you're looking at statements that you're having sent back, see which side of the page they're having you sent on. Are you signing on the right, or they have you signing on the left? Because all creditors sign on the right. Notice on your checks, or even your money orders or whatever, even your pay stubs that they have you sending in, notice what a signature space is. It's on the right, because you are the creditor. You are the one with the money. You are the one making the payment. You are the one with the power. You just don't know it because they tricked you into thinking that you're a debtor. You are the one with all of the power. You. So you got to know these laws and understand this game. Instead of trying to follow this religion, you got to move out of that and study on your own. Because when these people come at me, you come at me with all these documents. And every time they come at me with a document, and really, I need to be thanking that brother. I really do. Because, no, he didn't know what the hell he's talking about. However, when he sent that document to me, it turned me on to so many other, because I'm going to do my research. See, what people do, they're going to send me a little snippet of, well, this is just paragraph, the 14th one. Okay, that's fine, because you know what I'm gonna do? Like this, when these Christians be sending me this, they trying to make their point with some little scripture or whatever. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna pull up the whole chapter, and I'm gonna read not just that scripture. I'm gonna read the whole chapter, and then I'm gonna go back and read the chapter before that, and I'm gonna read the chapter after that. And you know what I'm gonna do after that? I might just read the whole book, because the Bible's good reading sometimes. Some of those stories are good, but I'm going to do my research, and that's what he had me doing. And so I appreciate him for that, because it really opened the door to a lot of things now that I need to speak on with respect to history, because it put in another puzzle piece. All right. So anyway, my bottom line to all of you all, understand, when these Moors are coming at you, I need you to understand something. If this nation can't provide you with a passport, you need to be asking them, what the hell are you for? You can't provide me with a passport, but you're a nation. It's not a real nation. I need y'all to understand that this whole Moorish movement, do your research. Do your research, because once again, this document that he sent me is showing that Morocco is clearly stating that they are a foreign nation. This is further, when you claim to be a Moor, you are further removing yourself from your entitlement of this land. You are not entitled to this land as a Moor because it is a foreign nation. And when he sends me these documents talking about that dealing with Barbary treaties and all of that, and how the Moors were participating in all of this, these pirates stealing people's boats and ships and land, he's just further backing up that whole deal. He's backing it up with this document. He doesn't realize it. And he's further saying that Moors were of another nation. Then they don't have claim to any land here. So stop trying to claim land here as a Moor. First of all, you need to understand there's the four mothers of this land. If you want to know who you were, you need to find out who the tribes were. I'm going to put those treaties up. I'm going to drop them below so that you can go and do your own research. You don't have to read somebody's book about their thoughts and their narrative about what the original people and what happened back in the day. When you read those treaties for yourself, you can see for yourself that the original people have the land is in land patents in their names. And if you're talking about claiming land, then you better know who the original people of the land were. Y'all ain't understanding how spiritual this thing is. Y'all are not understanding how spiritual this thing is. You're not going to just come in here and claim land and disrespect the spirits of this land. You disrespect the ancestors of this land. If you're talking about claiming land here, you better know the name of the four mothers. Ain't no forefathers, four mothers. And if you don't, then you're going to have hell every step of the way trying to claim something in this land. Know what's going on. Again, I speak about the universal laws as number one. Once you understand those, all this other stuff underneath falls into line. But know the maxims of law. Know what contract law is, and understand that somebody is trying to mislead you. The whole Moorish camp is infiltrated. If they weren't infiltrated, then they would be issuing passports to all these black people. By now, we should be at a higher level of knowledge than where we are. If you're really trying to understand this, you cannot do it by trying to follow under somebody. You got to do your own research, and you got to deal with somebody who's going to answer your questions, because that's another thing I'm getting about a lot of people who deal with these Moors. They're frustrated because they're not getting answers. That's because the ones who they don't really know, and the ones who have the ability to tell you, they're a part of keeping you in the system. I'm gonna see if I have any questions. Let me see if I have any questions. I'm about to close this out. Let's see. How y'all doing tonight? I hope y'all doing all right. I don't know why I can't see my little. Let me see. Let's see if I can get some logs here. Event log. I can't see any. I can't see if I have any questions. I don't know what's going on with this, but what is this? I don't know. All right. Well, I'm not going to be able to pull looks like I'm not going to be able to pull my, see if I have any questions, but I hope I was able to bring some information to you all. And hopefully I wasn't cutting out too badly. Let me see. I can't. Yeah, no, it's not letting me see any of mine. I see I have some comments. I'm sure I pissed some people off. It says I have 51 comments, but I can't see any of them. All right, so if I upset you, go ahead and put that in the box. I will be glad to respond to it. Please don't come at me with your religious beliefs, and please come at me with some factual information so that I can go ahead and we can learn together, because we all I'm willing to learn. Little fella told me, humble yourself, sis. Look, I'm willing to be humble when you've given me facts. He can't say anything that I said that was incorrect, but you got to want to be corrected. I have no problem being corrected. Correct me, please. Let us all learn together, but don't bring me garbage, because I'm gonna shut it down. Diva Laree, I'm out. Peace.